trainers of all types, drafters of all disciplines. Hello, I'm Cossack11, and this is the MagneZONE. And with me today, as usual, are my fantastic co-hosts, Sam,
Hello.
Adam,
What's poppin'?
and Clutch.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about the RDL Semifinals, and also we're going to be doing some finals predictions. We're going to get into Mon of the Week after those. No AI coverage once again, because again, there's not much to cover, and it's unfortunate, but I think I can safely say we're permanently discontinuing our AI coverage.
Me and Sam had a showdown.
Hey.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about that, sure, but we'll see if we have time first. We'll but you know, I'll keep it in mind for later in the podcast.
I can summarize that battle as me showing up with 20-minute prep where I didn't care, and Adam showing up with 30-minute prep where he maybe cared slightly more. Guess who won?
Accurate.
We can move on now.
So speaking of some matches that had significantly more thought and put into their prep, the semifinals of the RDL, and what a semifinals they were. These were both kind of on the shorter end in terms of battles, but they were good battles nonetheless. And we'll talk about. I think we'll start with Moon Conference semifinals, which is Sam versus Santoro, and that was a good battle. Sam, you want to go over that?
Sure. I'm happy to do that because I think this was an interesting one. Because to me, I told Clutch about this, but this was kind of a similar match in a way to the first battle I ever played with Santoro this season, week 3, I think. Because when we went in, we said, like Clutch and I, looking at our team, we're like, we have insane breakers. We have Staraptor when he doesn't have a real flying resist. We have, at the time, we had Tyrantrum, which he really didn't have good rock resists. And so we said, let's throw some breakers at this man. And if we flame out with the offense, we flame out. And this time we kind of did something similar, but a little bit sneakier. You know, we Ditto being there means that setup stuff has fewer opportunities. You know, you don't really want to set something up that counter sweep you, right? So we brought a Drapion that was completely capable of pursuit trapping our own Celebi set at +2. We ran Nasty Plot Celebi again. And we brought some other stuff around to break down his defensive side and take on what like offense he had. We wanted to make sure that we didn't get like swept by Xurkitree. No shade, but like we wanted to make sure we didn't get swept by Xurkitree. And yeah, no, it's interesting because like I think we've told like Cossack, I've told you this, to Adam, we've told you this, but like the prep we had for Santoro has been sitting in the bag for like a month. It's been a while.
It's been there for a minute.
Yeah. Because we prepped 2 teams to play Santoro. One for the final week that was kind of more like meme-y stuff, like weird stuff, like sub workup Staraptor was definitely on there. You know, we brought some weird stuff.
Speaking of Staraptor was actually a pretty big player in that battle.
Yeah, no, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Because the Staraptor afforded us a lot. We brought a very similar set Staraptor to the first battle with Santoro. It was basically Choice Band, like I think Brave Bird, Double Edge, U-Turn, and Quick Attack. And yeah, Staraptor closed it out for us, and kind of opened things up for us. It's insane to me that I watched an Arcanine just keel over to a Double Edge.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From what I saw this battle, this is one of the few times it's happened before, but it happens rarely, and that's you see. If you were to watch this battle, it's 18 turns. I think I mentioned that earlier. Both battles were 18 turns. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. I don't know if I think that might have been in the show prep. I mentioned that, but
yeah, both battles were 18 turns.
And
fairly short.
Yeah, it's a fairly short battle, and really, it seemed like you guys were behind in Mons on a couple occasions, I think, in that battle, but it didn't seem like you were. Like, it seemed like you were still in control of the battle. Honestly, I think this is one of the few times I've seen Santoro kind of pushed onto the back foot.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It doesn't happen often, though, and it's always interesting to see when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely made some good plays to try and get back in it. And there was a couple moments where I'm like, this could go either way here.
I started feeling like I was pretty in control once I had Scarf Porygon Z in clicking buttons. And, that, Pori Z scored a kill. The nice thing about Scarf Pori Z is, of course, that it outspeeds Scarf Zerk, which is and +1 Zerk just in general.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, he brought a Scarf Zerkatry, and I mean the moment that like my heart sank, of course, like we've talked about this a lot outside of chat, but he sent his Ditto in to revenge kill my Pori Z with Scarf. So I'm like, well, this is a speed tie. I'll play this game. Ditto takes the hit, gets burned, lives on the tiniest little bit of health, and then I lose the speed tie. He attacks me, and I get my Scarf Pori Z, my one thing to outspeed Scarf Zerk, gets frozen.
Yeah.
And man, that was a nightmare.
Luckily,
luckily
it seemed you got into situations where the Scarf Zerk couldn't really deal with Celebi and was forced out, and that was definitely a good thing to have. Helped you keep that momentum going.
Yeah. I feel like the play in all of this that I'm still the most proud of personally having made was the going to Drapion on Scarf Zerkatry to scout for Signal Beam, because I thought for sure that would be the prep that he had for hitting Celebi, was locking into Signal Beam. Because I had a +2. I mean, I had a +2 nasty plot Celebi out in front of this guy. He goes Zerkatry, and I was just like, the one thing he's not doing right now is T-Bolt, because like if I stay in, that loses him the match.
We don't play with threats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured, if he wanted to call that thing coming in, I mean, worst case scenario, he calls Drapion coming in, and I go back out to Celebi and Giga Drain. But then he could have done things from there. But like, he didn't play with the threat for sure. But yeah, no, it was a good game. I don't think that there, outside of the freeze and the burn, there wasn't a whole ton of hacks.
No, it was a pretty clean game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I always like to see a well played, clean game, especially in the semifinals. It's always nice to see that in postseason.
And of course, like, respect to Santoro, who's just like the nicest, humblest dude. Who like, we talked before the game and after the game, and he didn't get upset when I beat him. He didn't throw a fit and leave a server or anything. Like, nothing.
Oh wow.
Like, I mean, he's just always been the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Like, I look forward to like being able to like have him around more, because he's just a fantastic battler and like honestly like a class act.
Yeah, and he also puts out pretty good YouTube videos too. Like his team, I like watching his team builder videos.
I love Santoro.
His thought process is pretty good on those team builder videos. Actually, if you're newer to Draft League, I think it's it's like
Santoro 613.
613. Check those out, because that's going to give you some good idea of like how you should probably do your team prep, or at least give you a good idea what good team prep looks like.
He's a fantastic battler, and he puts out really good content.
If you want to see some like ascended third and fourth eye awokeness, go watch his team builder for RDL season 1.
Semifinals?
When he still had his Salamence.
Oh man.
And he brought way more facade physical.
Oh hey.
I'm glad I didn't have to bring it up this time.
Oh no, I'll bring that one up.
Yeah.
That was a good prep.
That was a good read. All right, so let's move on from that one. That was a good battle, like I said. This next battle was Ohio versus LA Chargebugs, and this is also a good battle. So you may, those of you listening may remember that I released the predictions podcast after both the semifinals battles happened, because I had actually helped Mike team build for the Chargebugs. And one set that we were particularly proud of that performed exactly as expected was Belly Drum Snorlax.
Ooh.
And it, you know what? We took a look because we did a ton of damage calcs to see how viable this was, and we needed, because we were gonna lead with it. That was the plan. Mike was gonna lead that boy, and he did. And he led Belly Drum Snorlax, and across from him was Nidoqueen. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is one of the mons that we that he sets that Belly Drum up on. And immediately had a brown moment because the damage calc rounded up on the, was it Sludge Wave? Was the attack?
Whatever. Regardless.
It rounded up, and it was just above because it was Gluttony, Figgy Berry, Belly Drum, Earthquake, and Return, and Recycle. And it was just enough that the berry didn't proc.
Yeah,
And
that was Belly Drum.
It was off of Belly Drum.
Oh no, it was off
Belly
of.
Drum did.
All right. Yeah, sorry, it was belly. Yeah, the Belly Drum didn't proc the berry, and which is, by the way, because Mike ran that same set with like the same values and everything, and Showdown with the same level and everything, and the berry procced. He doesn't know why it rounded that way.
That's interesting.
So
Did you do Mox at level 50 or level 100?
I said level 50. I don't know. I didn't do Mox, but I'm talking about. I'm talking to, like.
Yeah. Well. Anyways.
But yeah, it's still. But we were like, oh no. But he lives the Sludge Wave. That's what it was. He lived the Sludge Wave after that, and that procced the berry, and it got him enough health back that he could live another Sludge Wave. So he clicked Recycle. Or did he click Recycle there? Yeah. There was a couple times where he didn't click Recycle when we thought he was going to.
He could have drawn it out a bit more.
He could have, but at the same time, it did its job. It knocked out 3 mons, including, and very importantly, Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa Unbound came in on return, and +6 return is that's nuking Hoopa Unbound.
Decimated that thing.
Oh yeah.
Sent to another dimension.
But to Meta's credit, he did a pretty good job playing after he lost 3 months and after the lax went down. He did a pretty good job trying to like bring it back. It was a really solid game.
Yeah, if that, because the other pivotal play there is Ment's Dragon Dancing and taking a
Steam Eruption.
Yeah, that's correct.
And the burn proc.
Yeah, because if the burn didn't proc, it might have been like,
that might have been game right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been counter, because that was what I think all three of us sat down and watched this game.
Yeah,
together.
Yep.
It was Adam, Sam, and I. We all watched this together.
And the thing was that I remember thinking like, yeah, this is 3-6 right now, or 3-5. You know, Snorlax goes down and Meta's at a huge disadvantage. But as long as that Mence is there, if it gets a turn to itself, it can go in.
Right, and
like Meta consistently runs Moxie. You know, he wasn't going to bring it to, and like
once
on one hand, that makes it so that you can't get set up quite as easily. You know, because like
but once you
getting off Dragon Dances, but once you get going, there's just no stopping.
Yeah, it very quickly snowballs, and
yeah,
it was dangerously close to happening. You even said right as the Steam Eruption animation started, he needs the burn here, and he got the burn. And
I mean, 30% is non-negligible.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of why Steam Eruption is such a good move.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I was telling Clutch about it because it came up in my TPL match that we'll talk about next week. That like Steam Eruption is basically Scald with the power of Hydro Pump and
better accuracy
of
what
is 95 Spatial Rend?
I don't know. It's
something.
Play rough.
Air Slash. No, Playoffs 90.
No, Playoffs 90.
Right, you're right.
It misses 4 times less is the point than Hydro Pump does. It's a good move.
Right.
It's dumb.
So it's basically Scald on steroids. With a little less accuracy.
Just like Diamond Storm is Stone Edge that doesn't really miss as much.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah. Point is, he got the burn when he had to, you know, and like a 30% is 30%. It's likely, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, considering how often Scald burn procs, and it's a safer. It's it's I would put odds on it. You know what I mean? Like I'd take those odds for sure, and it paid off. I mean, that halted that potential sweep cold.
Yeah, it did. Meta played it well.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
do really want to give him credit.
Yeah.
It was a good game for
And
him.
it-
His prep was solid.
Yeah,
And
his prep was
I'm not
solid.
Sure, I'm not sure how much prep you can do for turn 1 belly drum.
Yeah.
On Snorlax.
Because that's very aggressive, and like
That's,
the one thing we were worried about him leading was Hoopa Unbound. If he had led Hoopa Unbound, we'd have been like, there like we had a plan in place, or at least like I helped Mike put a plan in place for that. But and to be fair, Mike, like I helped him team build, but the most I did really was like talk him into the belly drum set after he after he's like, oh, what about belly drum? And I'm like, do it and lead it.
sometimes you just gotta go.
Yeah, I've found that sometimes leading with the setup can actually like throw people off, because most people don't expect you to lead set off, especially if you have mons on your team that are good leads, like in your good standard leads. It sometimes it can give you that little, in a close matchup, it can give you that little bit of extra momentum early game that you need to kind of push the pressure, set the tempo the way you want it to go.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, and you also see this where, like, I think it catches people off guard in playoffs. Like Santoro last week, just 8-turn bodied Galesburg because he just led with his setup, clicked, took the 60-40 turn 1 with Z hypnosis and just went in. And that's like, if you call it right, and this is something that I feel like I've learned from like playing with Clutch occasionally, is that like sometimes when you like at preview see that something's a threat, like just lead with it and make them do something about it.
Yeah. So that's gonna close out our semifinals coverage. Very good battles. Well done to all the coaches in the semifinals and all the coaches in playoffs in general. Really excited. I think most of the playoff coaches are coming back for season 4. So
it's a ways off.
It's a ways off in the future. We've got MBL, and almost all of the playoff coaches are also in the TPL. So this will be good.
Stacked.
So anyway, moving on to the championships. By the way, congrats Sam on making it to the championships.
Well, hey, thanks.
And also congrats to Mike for his second time in the championships.
Yeah. It's a big deal. I mean, I owe a lot to Clutch, who's been like my prep partner since week 1, really.
Yeah.
Like, we've been in the lab. Like it's honestly some of the most fun I've ever had prepping.
Yeah.
One scary ass duo.
Yeah, it really is. Not to be underestimated for sure.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so now,
Finals now?
Yep, we're going to talk about the predictions, which means that Clutch and Sam are going to probably close their mouths now because they don't want to give anything away, which is fair.
We've already mashed that nasty plot button once with our prep. Like, we're getting there. We're probably going to do it again. Like, we're feeling good.
Yeah. And so, the finals going to be Natural versus Sam. We talked about that. So, Mike versus Sam. So let's talk. I'll list off the teams here so we kind of know what we're dealing with. So Mike's team, the Ohio Ninetales, Tier 1, Lando T, Tier 2, Ferrothorn, Tier 3, Snorlax, Tier 3, Kyurem, Tier 4, Skuntank, Tier 5, Claydol, Megalatias. Free slot 1, Volcanion. Free slot 2, Galvantula. Free slot 3, Scrafty. And free slot 4, Lurantis. We go down to Sam's team. And Sam, his tier 1, Infernape. Tier 2, Starmie. Tier 3, Celebi. Tier 3, Poriz. Tier 4, Drapion. Tier 5, Vikavolt. Mega Caesar is the Mega. Free slot 1, Braviary. Free slot 2, Gudra. Free slot 3, Hippowdon. Free slot 4, Gramble. So, Adam, since you and I are going to have to carry this discussion for the next few minutes, well, let me hear your predictions first, because we started with mine last week.
All right. So right off I'm going to start with Mike's team.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Volcanion.
Yeah.
Volcanion runs a train minus Gudra.
Uh-huh. I actually agree with that. I was going to say Volcanion for sure.
Landorus. I see
Mhm.
Landorus.
It's not often that you don't see Landorus.
You're right. Let me look. See, I had more time to think last week.
Yeah.
I could
fair.
see Scrafty coming.
Yep.
I could actually
see
see
that too.
Scrafty.
Yep.
Megalodios.
Also a mon that you see pretty frequently and against pretty much most teams.
I see Kyurem. And I see Snorlax.
Okay. Now let's ask the question, because I think that it's one of those.
Ferrothorn's definitely up there too.
So let's ask the question that we asked last week, which is that which mon is definitely not coming from Natural's team? Do you think?
Lurantis.
Yeah, I mean,
Lurantis is
I mean
not coming.
that's the pretty easy pick, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be seeing Lurantis either.
Second mon that's not coming, Skuntank.
Yeah, I don't think Skuntank has a good matchup here either.
Claydol I could actually potentially see.
Yeah, Claydol has some utility here. I don't think it's an outside bring, but it's a potential. It's still like he could bring it. I don't think Skuntank is an outside bring though. I don't even think it goes that far because
No, I see 7 mons that are very likely in Landorus, Ferrothorn, the first 4 plus Latias, Volcanion, and Scrafty. And then I see Galvantula like a tier underneath of them.
Yeah.
And then Lurantis, Claydol, Skuntank. All
right. So what do you think? What do you think? Clutch and Sam are going to be bringing to the table. After the podcast is over, they'll get to tell us how wrong we are. So.
Yeah, true. They did that last week.
Yeah.
I see Gudra.
Yep.
I see Staraptor.
I actually really like Gudra here. I'm just gonna quickly interject. I really like Gudra here. Gudra does really well, especially against Megalodios in certain situations. It's actually gonna force it out. Gudra, Assault Vested Gudra with special defense investment, basically tanks Dracos and just laughs.
The problem would be Megalodios has base 120 attack.
That's true too. And
does Mike break out that mixed set in the finals?
It could.
It's plus HP fire.
Mike is pretty orthodox with his approach a lot of the time, but we saw with the belly drum set, he's not afraid to go a little outside the box and bring something that
he is not
that really just jumps you. So I could see it.
Gudra Staraptor, I could see Infernape. I could see a special Infernape with HP Ice, Fire Blast, Focus Blast. Or maybe mixed with EQ.
Yeah, that'd actually be really good here.
I see PZ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that bolt beam coverage. Tri-attack is really good here.
Tri-attack plus HP fire.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't have Mike doesn't have a ghost type.
Nope, not anymore.
Yeah, and the only normal resist he has is Ferrothorn.
All right, so that was what, 5?
Yeah.
I see Vikavolt.
Okay.
I could actually see a Vikavolt come.
All right. Okay, so what do you think they're not bringing?
Not bringing probably Hippo? Hold on. No, wait. Bottom tier Granbull, just above that Hippo, just above that Drapion.
Yeah. I was going to say Granbull for
I
me.
could see Celebi or Starmie also coming to replace the top 6.
Yep. Well, and Granbull doesn't have... there's 2 dragons, so that helps, but it doesn't do a lot.
I just don't see it. It's
getting
getting smacked by everything.
Yeah, it's getting smacked by Lando T. It's getting smacked by Snorlax. It's getting smacked by Ferrothorn.
Kyurem, Volcanion, Megalodios also deal crazy damage to it.
Yeah.
Unless they go full defensive one side, but then they're not taking anything on the other.
Well, and Volcanion is a key reason why I don't think Hippo's. Hippo might come, but I doubt it because
And that steam
Volcanion.
eruption is just so free against this team.
Yes.
You really don't want to make Gudra come in all that much because it can be worn down. It's
Yeah.
susceptible to that.
Well, and also,
Especially if Mike opens his third eye and brings like a physical move to smack an AV Gudra.
well, yeah, like
Gudra mixed everything.
yeah, Ferrothorn also is pretty good against Hippo. Like,
Yeah.
Hippo just doesn't have a great matchup here. There's too many things that wipe it out, and like, because like Hippo's like we talked about this before. Hippo's special defense ain't great, and he's got Volcanion hits on the special side really hard. Like Latios, or sorry, Mega Latias can run Ice Beam. I mean, he's got Kyurem, so like,
I don't think anything like necessarily wipes out Hippowdon.
No,
It's more
but-
the fact it lets Mons have too much
leeway.
freedom.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can click Earthquake, you can click Whirlwind, you can click Toxic, but if you predict wrong and that Lando's not choice and it's sub,
Yeah.
oh, you got problems.
Yeah. It gives too many opportunities for setups,
Yeah.
I think. And he does.
It just is too much.
Sam and Clutch do
It's
not
too
want
much
Mike
of a
getting going.
Momentum killer.
Right, and
It's too much of a momentum killer, and I see them needing momentum against Mike.
yeah, well, Mike's team thrives on having that momentum, and like their team isn't like it's got bulk on it. I mean, it has really good bulk on their team, but the problem is like Mike's got like such a heavy hitting team that if he gets that momentum going, gets a couple setups, like he finds that opening and it's going to be all over. So they're going to want to keep the offensive pressure on here. I don't think they're going to be looking to try and attrition this out. There's no way for them to do that.
Yo, hot take: 5 U-turners and a Volt switcher for Seattle.
5 U-turns in an overcoat. I can see it.
Wait, what?
Overcoat? Oh yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like
I immediately went to. I was like, what?
I got lost.
Overcoat is in there?
yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that overcoat. I
Overcoat.
forgot. I should have said. I should have said 4 or 6 Volt turners in a trench coat. That would have made more sense.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
like, overcoat ability.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. That was my bad. I forgot that overcoat was an ability that exists. So put that one down in your bingo cards, everyone.
Hey.
So, yeah, no, I actually I don't really have any arguments with you there. I do think Drapion I think actually could come but it was your third, it was your third one from the bottom in terms of like what's coming. And
Yeah.
I see
it wasn't outside the realm of
yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah. So
His taunt is actually pretty good against Mike.
yeah, it's
Against,
gonna
like,
keep
Ferrothorn,
yeah.
against Snorlax.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna keep a
Pursuit
lot of
trapping
those.
and Megalodi's kind of nice.
Stops depending on like what switches into it, like it stops leech seeds from Ferrothorn, which in certain situations can cause Ferrothorn to get whittled down quicker, which is not something you want.
You can also pack Fire Fang for it.
Also, it also stops Galvantula from setting webs if like Vantula comes.
It gets pretty free knockoffs. I could definitely see it coming. It just
Yeah.
wasn't like my top 6.
Right.
It was like a
and-
7-8.
Yeah, and I can agree with that statement. Honestly, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with the
And without saying anything
Rings.
about our prep, I feel like there is a like strength in the fact that like even looking at this, like we're gonna go through our prep again and again because like we actually feel like Mike's got big threats, but I feel like there's a lot of ways we could go with our.
yeah. Well, here's
we could draft like 4 or 5 teams off of this. I think.
Well, I think what I'm seeing here is Mike's team has like the heavy hitting threats, right? He's got Kyurem, he's got Mega Latias, and Mega Latias, usually a lot of people think of it as Calm Mind stored power, but it's also just got really great out of the box hitting power on both ends of the fence. Volcanion is a heavy hitter. Lando T can be a heavy hitter depending on how you build it. Ferrothorn's a good wall. Snorlax we've already talked about. Hits hard when it wants to, and it's also a pretty bulky boy. Like he's kind of got like the like kind of slow, not slow, but he's kind of got that kind of he's got like a bruiser team, right? He's looking to like get in with those heavy hits, start punching holes and things early on with a little bit of momentum build just to keep the pressure on. where you guys kind of have a lighter, quicker team that has a lot of flexibility, right? Where he's going to be going for heavy hits. You guys are going to be hitting heavy too, but you guys have a lot more of that like flexibility. Like you can build Infernape and Starmie a lot of different ways. You can look for ways to fit Celebi into like little gaps. You got Pori-Z that you can run it Scarfed, you can run it Specs. You can run a lot of different, like you can run setup sets with it. Drapion gives you a lot of like knockoff and taunt support utility. You've got bulk, or like you could, if you need the bulk, you've got like you've got Goodra, you've got Mega Caesar, and like Mega Caesar can also go offense if it needs to. You can, it's not uncommon to put Specs on Goodra. Like you guys have that, a lot more of that flexibility factor. It's not to say Michael's team doesn't have flexibility, but I think that Michael's team maybe doesn't have as much flexibility as you guys have. So it's
probably a reasonable assessment.
Yeah, that's how I see this. I mean, it'll be down to both you guys and Mike proving me wrong. So I think that's gonna. Yeah, let's closing thoughts, everyone, on this. I mean,
my lips are.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was trying to give some silence to see if either of them said anything when you said
Yeah.
everyone.
I said everyone. I kind of figured that Sam and Clutch weren't gonna say much. I mean, I gave my closing thoughts. So Adam.
I don't. There's so many different ways I can see both of these teams being built to handle each other.
Yeah.
It's really gonna come down to prep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, prep is gonna be.
In my mind, this comes down to who preps past their opponent and who preps just enough.
Yeah. It's gonna be who's the most correct in their prep.
Pretty much.
Is gonna be one of the major deciding factors, if not the major deciding factor. Because I think in terms of coaching, we're talking pretty close to parity. I don't see Sam or Mike as better than the other in terms of skill level. I think they're about the same, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So
no, I think the way they play, they make similar reads, which will prove to be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I disagree with you. I'm literally
really
like whatever.
All right. So
I won't ask you to say more.
With that aside,
I'm just gonna assume that my plays are gonna be trash. That's
okay.
Like,
I mean, yeah. All right.
I think Mike. For what it's worth, I think Mike is a more even player than I am. Like, I would believe in Mike to be like more consistent.
And I said this a while ago, a long time ago. I don't think I've said it in a while anyway, which is that Mike has solid fundamentals as a coach,
with an emphasis on fun and fundamentals.
Okay.
Shout out Chris Pratt. If you're listening, we know you're not, but like if you are.
Yeah, Sam just shouting back towards Chris Pratt way in the back of his room. He just,
How did you get 17 feet away in the span of 3 seconds?
It's Sam.
I'd assume very carefully.
Yeah.
He's walking away from my mic to go make more tea, damn it.
Yeah, because he's using that snowball mic now. Anyway, all right, let's move on to our final segment, Mon of the Week. This is going to run shorter just because, we don't have Alola International to cover, but we're hoping to make up for some of that because we technically have 2 Mons of the Week this week, mainly because I think that talking about just one of them would be a little incomplete. We're talking about Megazard X and Megazard Y. For those of you who maybe didn't quite catch that, it's Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y. And I like both of these boys. I've had both of them in draft leagues before.
Did you use Megazord Y?
I didn't use it in any of the recent leagues. This is the first draft league team I ever put together. I had Megazard Y.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't remember you ever having that.
Nope. I haven't drafted it recently for sure, but my first ever draft league team had Megazard Y on it.
Yeah, I don't want to see you with the Megazord X. I really don't.
It's happening in WDL right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of glad I'm not in that league.
Yeah.
I almost was in that league. I was so close to saying yes.
The more I use it in that league, the more I really like Megazard X. He's such a good Mega. Just
really
like it. I think we talked about this a little bit before the podcast, and Clutch will disagree with Adam and I on this, and that's fine though, because that'll actually make for some actual discussion here, which is that I think MagneZONE X is the better of the two for Draft League.
You could argue that.
It's definitely an arguable point. I'm not saying it
say-
isn't, but
I
I
always say
think, in my
Zard X.
opinion,
I think Zard X is more dynamic. However,
I agree.
yeah.
I think
That's the one
Zardex
I
is more dynamic, which is honestly more beneficial for Draft League. But in
Yeah,
like a
but
multi-battle
Zard Y-
league, which is coming up, Zard Y.
Oh
hands down.
yeah, Zard Y is
Zard
better
Y
in
doesn't have to
multis.
be dynamic though. That's the thing. It's a
Yeah, it's
pure
you're right.
breaker.
Well,
It
yeah.
sits there. You click Fire Blast, and it's taking percent.
Well,
It's just my thought is that it's easier to prep for a Zard Y because you know what it will do.
I mean,
A
that's
Zard
fair.
X, if it brings like a set you don't expect, you're screwed.
and
Mhm.
now that is to say though, some things to consider when you're talking about both of these is, Zard X has a surprising amount of physical bulk. It's got 78 111 on the physical side, which is
Mhm.
pretty good considering it also has 100 speed tier and
I
has
mean,
base 130
78,
attack
85
and
isn't even
attack.
that bad.
Yeah, that's true. 85 isn't bad either. And MagneZONE Y has 100 base 115 special defense, which is pretty good. And you know, base 78 HP and defense. It's gonna take it'll take a couple, you know, non super effective hits on that, and maybe even one super effective hit on the physical side, depending on. So now, but the thing is, the thing with Zard X that's scary is because it's got base 130 in both of its attack stats, which gives it a little bit more offensive flexibility. Zard Y has a ridiculous special attack stat, base 159, but its attack is kind of middling at 104. But
It's
not
higher than
to-
Zygarde.
I mean,
It is.
yeah, you're not wrong. It's not to say that 104 is nothing. You can definitely run a mixed set on Zard Y, and you will catch people with that and win games doing that if you do
I
it
saw
at the
someone
right
sweep
times.
with belly drum Zard Y once.
Ooh.
Ew.
Yeah, that's
Yo.
dirty.
So here's the
No, go ahead.
A quick thought as well about Zardex is that, I mean, to interject, the reason that this thing typically gravitates physical, of course, is because of the Tough Claws boost, which is fantastic for it. Contact moves being boosted by, what is it, like 20%, 30%? 30%. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it hits big. You know, on the physical side, those flare blitzes, that's a lot of damage it throws out. And of course, I think that Cossack mentioned the physical bulk as well. Like it's something that takes a hit, it can get a dragon dance, and it can kind of end you as well. I mean, you know, it gets a boost or two and just goes. And the typing is actually really solid as well.
Mhm.
It likes that after it mega evolves, it sheds the 50% from stealth rocks.
From stealth rocks, it also sheds its water weakness. Water becomes neutral due to the dragon typing.
So what you're saying is lead Megazord X and click belly drum turn 1.
I mean, then you click that flame charge.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. That'd
Yeah.
be that'd be an 8-turn match.
Make it worse.
Yeah.
Just keep. Yep, that's bad.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about I don't know how much you elaborated on the abilities, because I was a little bit distracted for a second, but Tough Claws, Drought, both really solid abilities that work very well with the mon itself.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I like when I see megas that have, and because not all megas have an ability that like really like they all have pretty decent abilities, but not all of them have an ability that just like really synergizes with their move pool and their stats.
Excellent. Sorry,
So,
I just
yeah.
Sorry about that.
But like Megazord Y, Drought combined with that base 159 attack and the fact that, you know, so it sets Sun for itself and it gets Solar Beam and it gets you know, it's your usual suite of special fire moves, and that thing hits like a freight train.
Well, because Sun is basically a choice specs boost for
Right.
fire moves, right? So you've
Yeah.
got something that comes in, it's capable of switching moves. It has good coverage for the things that typically switch in on those moves, namely
Mhm.
like, you know, bulky waters. And it's firing off the equivalent of choice specs stab moves off of base 159 special attack. That's brutal.
Yeah, you're getting hit hard by that.
No way around that.
Yeah, so and Zard X is no slouch either. The thing with Zard X that makes it dangerous is that dynamic stat spread that we talked about earlier. It's got base 130 attack and special attack, which is already pretty hard hitting out of the box. It gets D-Dance, which combined with that base 100 speed tier and the reasonable amount of bulk it gets, it has roost people. Like this thing can set up and stay alive for quite some time while it's pounding the shit out of your team.
Mm-hmm. Where did I see this last? It was like, I think it might have been in like PCL or something, that somebody ran a bulky Zard X, like with like toxic and like roost and stuff, and like in bulk invested it actually.
Yeah.
Like
it can run like toxic and will-o-wisp.
Yep.
This thing can actually wall.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think that like, especially for like newcomers to the format, people don't expect that.
And screw it, run seismic toss too.
You can run the most trollest of stall sets with MagneZONE.
I've seen worse sets recently.
You're not wrong. That's the thing with the bulk stats. We talked about the fact that it's got functional bulk, and it's even more functional when you have that recovery move. Like that's kind of key, because if I were to see stats like the defensive stats on something without recovery, I'd be a little more leery of it. It still could be work as a bulk set, don't get me wrong, but it would be a little less viable without the ability to just roost. And it doesn't worry about losing its flying type with the roost, because it doesn't have flying type to begin with.
Oh, notably, Zard X gets quick attack, so you get priority on that thing too.
Mm-hmm. You get a couple D-Dances off, get that quick attack. You're just
or just click Swords Dance.
Yeah, or click Swords Dance. Like
Tough Claws boosted priority.
Yup, it's gonna hurt. That's actually something I've noticed a little bit with there's a surprising amount of like hard hitting priority in the megas, just in general. Like, because you got
Punch, Mega Scissor.
Yeah, and then you got Mega Pinsir with its aerialate quick attacks. Yeah,
those are brutal.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of hard
just
hitting.
Just throw an F in chat.
Yeah. Just pour one out for everyone who's been dirted out by that set.
Who's been dirted out by that recently.
Yeah, which is a lot.
We have the F in chat. Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
If you're listening, write an F on your.
Yeah, F in the comments. We'll know what it's for.
Spell an F in the dirt.
Yeah.
Today for Mega Pinsir.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it for both of these.
Zard X, certainly.
Yeah, for Zard X. I think Zard Y. The other thing with Zard Y, we did talk about a little bit. It does get belly drum, which is it's not nothing.
Yeah, Zard X has that too, which is also
that's scary. Yeah, that's true. Zard Y also gets roost. I mean, they have the same move pools, so like, but I think I did briefly mention that it does have serviceable attack stats. So if you need to run like maybe a coverage like.
Run Earthquake for
Heatran or something like that. Yeah, exactly. If you want to target a quad on something that would normally switch in on you, that's definitely doable on the physical side. It's
and your switch-ins, it's like, I mean, Heatran's pretty good, but in the format, only one team has Heatran.
Yep.
And yeah, you can run Earthquake out the wazoo for that thing.
Oh yeah, I think Mega X and Mega Y Zard are two of the. I don't know if they're quite the top of the megas, only because both the Mega Lotties are there. But I think at least they're both on the level of Mega Latios. I think they're at least that high.
Personally, I put them just underneath.
Just underneath? That's fair too. I mean, I could see that. They're definitely top tier megas to pick up though. You usually can't go wrong if you pick one of these up in round 1 or 2. Like you pick one of these two up early, and you've got something very good to build around.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and they go on a lot of different teams because of that. I would say Mega Y is a little less flexible than Mega X, but it doesn't say that that's not to say that it isn't flexible at all. There are things you can do with it. A lot of different, there's quite a bit of variance on the sets you can run.
Yeah, you can run it kind of as a wall breaker as well. I mean, I think that its ideal situation, of course, is like if you can grab like something to kind of form a mini sun core with it, that's pretty nice. Like if you can pair it with some
Torkoal.
things that appreciate.
Yeah. Yep. Torkoal is a good one. Torkoal is also, I mean, like, and just other fire types that appreciate having the drought up. I can definitely see that being really solid. So.
Oh, so Groudon?
Yeah, because that's allowed in most draft leagues.
Oh, why not bring Groudon? Why not just let it be Primal Groudon as well?
Yeah, while we're at it.
Actually, Blacephalon and Sun would be so scary.
Yep, Blacephalon is a good partner for this thing. I think
Blown
a lot of grass types are also pretty good combo players with Megazard Y.
I was about to say Venusaur in the sun with a chlorophyll boost is pretty scary.
Yep. I mean, if you're in like MBL, Mega Venusaur and Megazard Y are a pretty decent combo together. That synthesis turns into even more healing right there.
Don't sleep on that chlorophyll Tangrowth.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
It would definitely surprise people.
Yeah, they're like, why is this thing fast?
You also have to remember it allows you to run Solar Beam on grass mons that normally wouldn't run Solar Beam.
And growth.
And growth, yeah. It's a pretty nasty combination there. So Megazard Y, I think Megazard Y definitely has a lot of, because of that sunsetting capability, is pretty good to like in a different, like it has the flexibilities in a slightly, I think slightly goes more to the things you can pair with it rather than it itself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can definitely pair a lot of stuff with Megazard X, but Megazard X is pretty good. Like Megazard X is more I think a little bit more. I can't really formulate my thought very well on that, so I'm gonna just hold off on that because I don't want to end up spending like 5 minutes trying to explain a point badly. So I think that's actually any closing remarks on Zard X, Zard Y?
I don't think so. I mean, fantastic picks. I think that Zard X fits on more like team archetypes than Zard Y does.
Yeah.
Zard Y is, I think, probably like, I'd say that in the leagues I've been in, I haven't really seen it used much, and it's like it's a powerhouse. You know, it's an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you need something to hit on that special side in particular, but with maybe a little extra flex in the utility department, Megazard Y is definitely a good pickup for you. And with that being said, I think that's going to close out the podcast for today. Yeah, like I said, it's running a little bit short. We're running on to about 48 minutes now, but there's a lot less to talk about this week. However, we'll probably be back to we'll be closer to our usual amount of time because TPL coverage starting next week. We're excited. You should be too. It's a great league. The 2 matches we've had so far, really good matches, very close, well-played matches. I was very happy to see that. That's exactly what I was expecting when I first saw the coaching roster for this league. So until then, we'll catch you next time. May your drafts go well and may you not get sniped. Peace.